Hey everyone, good morning and good evening. Let's start with today's session and let's see what exactly we are doing today. Let's do a quick recap what we did yesterday. Yesterday we spoke about multiple things such as what is task group, what is library, and then we spoke about environments and deployments. Okay, I think there were a few questions whether we can share library values in other projects or not. So no, the answer is no, we cannot share. The only thing we can share the max is the agent pool, the service connections, that's it. Okay, so library variables and all cannot be shared to the other projects. But yeah, there are different way outs. If you have any such requirements, so there are different way outs which we can do. Like I'll show you one of the way out today, wherein we'll have all the values integrated in Key Vault, and then we'll integrate Key Vault in multiple projects. We can integrate Key Vault, the same Key Vault in multiple projects. We can do that. That's a way out we can try. Okay, hope that helps. Who has asked this question?
Yes, that helps. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, let me quickly share my screen and let's start with today's session. Today we'll do the third project, that's database automation, wherein we'll be automating the database. Okay, let me. Okay, before we talk about database automation, let's talk about the different set of projects which you can create to automate your database. Okay, hopefully my screen is visible. These are the steps what we will follow today. Okay, before we start doing the steps, let's talk about few things. There are two types of packages which you can create in database. Okay, one is backpack. Backpack is basically known as backup packages. So this package is created if you want to take the backup of the entire database. This package includes all your schemas. When I say schema, I'm talking about the object, the structure of your database, that is your table, your function, your store procedure, the views, and XYZ. So this backpack will have all the schemas plus data. So if you're creating a back package, so that means you're creating the complete database backup you're taking up with backpack. So backpack is basically not used for automation purpose, guys. I'll be using the tool SSMS for creating this dacpac and backpacks. So this step is completely option of creating the package, because I'll be sharing whatever package I'll be creating today. I'll be sharing that with you. And if you want to just focus on the CI/CD part, you guys can do that. But if you want to create everything from scratch, then SSMS is a SQL Management Studio tool, which you can easily go and download from Google for free. Okay, this tool is basically used to connect to your remote databases. Okay, just keep that in mind. On the other side, backpack. So backpack is basically created if you want to take on time database backup. At that time, you will be taking backpack. Okay. Yeah, you can use that also, Data Studio. I'll be showing you both the options. How do we connect locally Victoria, and how do we connect using the portal. Both the ways we'll see, because I'll be creating the SQL server on the portal itself after this. Okay. On the other side, we got dacpac. Dacpac stands for data tier application packages. Now this is the package which you will be creating, which we will be creating for automating the database operations. Now this package will only include the schema, no data, guys. So just keep that in mind. It will have only the database structure it will not contain any data in it. So dacpac will help you automate DDL operations. So there are two types of operations in SQL, DDL and DML. DDL is data definition language, wherein DML is data manipulation language. Data definition is like when you define something in your database. Like if you want to create a table, you want to drop a table, you need to rename a table, you need to alter a table. These are the types of operation which is supported by DAC packages. Okay. On the other side, the DML operation like inserting data, updating data, deleting data, those operations are not supported by dacpac. But how do you do those operations? Because when you're automating, definitely when you create a table, definitely you'll want to insert some data to it, correct? It's not that you will just simply create table. Yeah, so those operations, I'll show you how do we automate those operations as well. Okay, but just FYI, DAC packages, this is the package which we will be creating for automating databases. So I'm talking about SQL Server databases right now over here. So the first thing is you need to go and create a SQL project. In that you need to have a DAC package created. Okay. Again, repeating, dacpac contains only schema of your database, no data. Okay, wherein backpack is it contains all the schema plus data, so it's a big file. Now, whenever the DBAs needs to take a database backup, the package which they create is the backpack, so that if anything happens to the database, they can easily restore using this backpack. So backpack is basically used for database restoration, wherein dacpac is a data tier application packages which we can use for automating the entire database. Okay, so keep this in mind. Two types: extension, backpack and dacpac. Okay, so the first thing is let's go and create a SQL server because we don't have a database right now. We don't have a SQL server right now. So let's go and create a SQL server. Inside that SQL server, create a database. These are the things which we can easily do it on portal. We can go on cloud and we can do these things over there, because setting up database and SQL server on a local system is not that recommended. So it's better. It's very easy for us to go on the portal and launch a SQL server there. Okay, let's go and do it. Let's create a SQL database directly. Automatically, it will create the day server also. So let's go to SQL server databases. Why exactly we are creating? Because once this setup is done, we can automate the entire uh, operations. Okay, we'll execute the scripts. Let's wait. Let's give the database name. Let me copy the same name. You can give whatever name you want, guys. There's no SQL server, so let's go and create a SQL server also. Let's give it a name as, okay, authentication method. I'll stick with use SQL authentication. You can also use AD authentication, it's up to you. For me, I'll just stick with SQL authentication. Well, let's see. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I've created a SQL server even. What is a compute? If you want to change the compute, you can go and change it from here. So SQL server, this is not a free service, guys. So make sure as soon as you're done with your practice, as soon as you're done with your automation, your pipelines are ready, everything is ready, and you're done with your practice, make sure to go and delete it. Okay, don't keep it, and always use the basic one over here. This is will have less cost. Okay, so always stick with the basic one for the compute. Okay, and this is definitely not free, you'll get charged. Backup, stick with local redundancy, don't select geo redundancy, stick with LRS. Okay, networking, for now I just keep it no access. Later I'll show you how do we connect to this SQL server. Okay, now let's go, and so there are two things which is getting created right now: a SQL server, and then we are creating a database on top of it. So these two steps are done. We created the SQL server, we created the database. Now there are multiple scripts. Basically, these are the scripts. So few scripts I'll run it manual. So this is a table creation scripts, guys. So first I'll show you I'll manually connect to the database, and I'll manually run this table create script, and then I got something called insert script. Okay, so this is something I'll do it manual. Once this is done, then we'll create a dacpac. Okay, post that, there's one more script which I'll show you, which will execute using CI/CD pipeline. I'll show you how do we automate this entire process. Let me talk about the current scenario which happens in real time nowadays. In real time, even though the front end is completely automated, we have used all sort of automation for the front end, the back end is still not automated. Still, the SQL developers, they write the SQL scripts, they attach it or they put it in a Git repository, and they give it to the DBAs. The DBAs manually go to the production and they run those scripts manual till now. Most of the projects you will find the database is still a manual process. Okay, so with database automation, you can even automate your backend of your database. Okay. Most of them are using SQL Server. So this is the process will work with whatever process we are doing for the database automation will work over there also. Just keep that in mind. Okay, and I'll need a Visual Studio over here for creating database projects. So again, the same thing. We'll have a Visual Studio tool. We'll be using Visual Studio for automating database projects. Okay, let me see if okay, it's not yet created. Let's wait. Okay, once this is done, we'll have the dacpac created. The dacpac will be created using SSMS. SSMS. Okay, let's wait while the SQL server is getting created, guys. Anyone? Any questions till now? The SQL server takes time, guys. Once the server is created, the database will be created soon. Let's wait and watch. I will need a repo. Okay, very good. This is created. Very good. Okay, how do we connect to this database server? So there are multiple ways. One way I showed you, you can use SSMS tool. Okay, in order to connect to your database, or else you can directly go to the SQL server. Let's go to all resources. So we got the SQL server and we got the database connected. Okay, let's go to the SQL server. Okay, inside the SQL server, when you go to SQL databases, it will basically take you to the database, which is online right now. And over here, there is a query editor. If you see at the left hand side, there is a query editor. You can use this editor. This works very similar to SSMS tool. Okay, Using this query editor, you can connect using SQL Server authentication method. You can connect to the database. Let's try this. Let me put in the password. And there are multiple other ways also, guys, to connect to databases. Like as said by Victoria, there are Azure Studio, through which also you can connect to the databases. So whichever way you like, you can connect. There's no problem. Let me log in. Everything seems to be stuck. Okay, let's wait. It's not able to log in. Let's go back and see it again. Okay, let's try and log in again, guys. This thing is taking good amount of time. I got SSMS tool also up, so I can use that to connect also, guys. I don't know why it's taking time. Okay, while we are waiting, let's go to SSMS tool and let's try to connect from there also. Remove this. So this is the server name I'll require. Just copy the server name. Come back to SSMS tool. Remove this part. Okay, so this is a SQL Server authentication. Let's put in the password. So this is I'm connecting it from my local, guys. So this is also a way. Most of the people, 90% of people who is using SQL Server, they use SSMS way most of their operations. Okay, for connecting to remote database server, for writing queries. So this is what they do. Using SSMS tool, they connect and they do most of their operations. And there are other tools also, Redgate and many tools are there for connecting to your SQL Server. But this management studio is a widely used tool. Every DBA or a SQL developer will definitely have this tool. Okay, there's some issues. Cannot connect. What is the issue? Reason and instance specify error occur by establishing connection. Okay, there's a connection issue, guys. The connection issue is because there's no access to this database server right now. So whatever database server you have created, there's no access to it. Okay, no public access is allowed. So for that, you need to go and allow network traffic coming in from my local system. I'm not talking about from outside, from my local. So what you have to do, you have to come to the SQL server, come to the networking part of it, and you can add my public IP from where I'm trying to connect. See, there's no access. Select network. Now, if you want, you can give access to your virtual network if there are a set of VMs. You can also add, see this, the firewall rule. This is my public IP, system public IP. I've just added the firewall rule and saved it. So these are additional security which you have. So only from this public IP, that is from my local system, I'll be able to connect to the SQL server. So this rule you need to go and add before you go and access your SQL server. No, I should not have any error. Now it will be able to connect to my SQL server basically. Successfully connected. Now if you want to go and execute, we can execute the query manually. Once we execute the query, we can go and create the dacpac. Without executing the query also, I can create the dacpac. There's no issue. But yeah, always Let's execute these queries manually first, then we'll create a DAC package after that. So just to show you that when we create a DAC pack, it will only have the schemas, not the data. This is a table. Let's go and execute this command. Let's go and select our database over here at the top because the master database was selected. Let me go and select our own database. Perfect. Highlight this, execute. Table created successfully. Perfect. Let's go and we can do an insert also. Done. Row affected. So we have successfully inserted data into a database. If you want to verify, you can run the select statement. Select from course. If you want to verify if things are looking good, run this query. Do you see? We got this table created. Course ID, course name, ratings. This is the table what we have successfully created. So till now, whatever steps I did, these are completely optional. Okay, but yeah, if you want to try this automation, you'll definitely have to create a SQL server. Now let's go and create the dacpac. Now the actual package creation task. So initially the package and the project needs to be created manually, guys. Later, using that package, you will be automating your entire process. Okay, how do we create the package? You can go to the database. This is your database. So right click. There are multiple ways again to create this package. One of the ways I am showing that is through SSMS. If you want to use dacpac creation using Visual Studio tool, even that is possible. Okay, so there are multiple ways. Whichever way you like, you can opt for it. For now, we'll stick with SSMS. Okay, so if you go to SSMS task, there are two options: export data tier application, extract data tier application. Export is basically if you want to create a backpack. Okay, so in this case, a backpack will be created. So this wizard will help you to logical backpack creation. Backpack, what did I say? It's a complete backup of your database. So if I'm creating a backpack right now at 7:32, that means till this point of time, whatever transaction has happened, all the complete database backup will be created. After this, if there's any transaction happening, that those data will not be there. Keep that in mind. Okay. So we are not creating a backpack. This is the second task which you see, that is a extract data tier application. This is what we are looking for. This is basically we'll go and create the DAC packages for you. It will set the properties, it will review the dependency and validation, and then it will build the package. If there are any dependency and validation needed, it will do that even for you. Let's go and create it. Let me save this on my desktop. This dacpac creation is in a real time, it's a one-time activity. Just keep that in mind. Okay, let's save it on the desktop. Okay, let's wait while this is getting created. Understood, guys? What all things we did? Manually deployed, creating a dacpac. Once the dacpac is created, this is the process what we need to follow. So let's go to the portal, Azure DevOps portal. And what exactly we do? We need a repository to be created because it's a new project, guys. Correct? So we need to have a Git repository created wherein we can put our projects. So I'll have something called name it as database project. Database. Let's name it database and let's have a git ignore file. So yeah, I've not shown git ignore yet. So this is basically will go and add a .git ignore file, and it will have all the extension which is not required inside your project. Okay, so basically it will ignore all this user specific files, it will ignore all this build result, the debug file and everything. So these files are not required in your remote repositories, so hence it will go and ignore it. I'll just clone this particular. This dacpac may take time depending upon how big your database is. Mine is very small, still it's taking time. See, let's go and run the git ignore. Sorry, run the git clone. Okay, we got the database cloned on my local. Okay, perfect. Minimize it. Dacpac, it's still creating, it's still in progress. Okay, so let's start with the next step of creating a project. So we'll go to create a new project. Okay, so what is the project you want to create? There is a database automation project which we need to create. Now if you see, the dacpac got created, guys. You see the dacpac created successfully. This is the dacpac file which got created over here. You cannot visualize this dacpac using any notepad or any other tool. If you want to visualize this dacpac, what exactly is there inside the dacpac, you need to use Visual Studio. Okay, I'll show you how exactly we do it. Now over here, go and look for SQL Server database project. Look for SQL Server. Do you see this SQL Server? The project for creating SQL Server database. Use this one. Give it a name, whatever name you want to give. SQL automation. This will be your project name. Okay. Select the location. So location will be the one which we just cloned. I want this files and everything to be created inside my desk, the repository. So this is the repository. So let's go and select that. Let's create. So what are we doing right now? We are creating a blank SQL database project. What are we creating? A blank SQL database project. It will not have anything. It will be a completely blank project. Later, I'll be using the dacpac inside this project which we are creating. Why are we doing all this? So this is the initial stage where we are creating the package. This will be the one-time activity in the real time also. Once you have the project created, once you have the pipelines created, once the developer starts using the pipeline for SQL development, then you're done. You don't need to create this package again and again. Okay, anyone? Any questions till now? So this is something you guys have to practice, guys. So there are a lot of things we are doing right now. So make sure to practice. Okay, so do we have it created? If you could, let's wait, it's still loading. Let's go to Solution Explorer. Okay, now if you go to Solution Explorer, if you see, there's nothing right now. This project is completely blank. Okay, now we can import the dacpac which we have created. That is the one way of viewing your dacpac. What's there inside your dacpac? So how do we? You can go and import to your current project. This is the blank project which you have created. How do you import it? You can just go right click on top of it. At the top, there's an option of import. Do you see there's an option of import data tier application, dacpac? So this is the option you need to go and select. Go and browse your dacpac. So my dacpac is kept on the desktop right now. This is the file. Let's go and select it. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Okay, let's go and import it. Done. Now, if you see this, there's a DBO folder got created, and this DBO folder has something called this course table. So this is something we just created right now, correct? This course table was created by us manually. Now, if you see inside a dacpac, this is the only object which is currently visible. Do you see any data in it? The insert which we did? So the answer is no, no data. It's only the structure of your database. That's it. Now, if you see this, this is just showing you the structure. That's it, nothing else. And if you go inside this folder, your database folder, see the SQL automation project got created. The very important file is the proj file. This is the file which we are looking for, and a DBO folder where all your database object is there. This is all your object will be visible. If you have store procedure, function, views, everything will be visible over here. Okay. Now this is the complete table structure got created in the backend. And this is your solution file, which you, if you want to open and work on it. Very important file is the SQL proj file, guys. Okay. Now your project is created. And if I go to the git changes, you can see there are couple of files which is not yet committed. There are 3 files to be uncommitted. Okay. Now your project created, your dacpac has been imported. Now, how do I automate the process now? Like suppose I have one more script. I have this script. Yeah, anyone has any question like? Okay. So these are the different set of scripts what we have. This is basically, let me show you the script. This is creating a subject table, and then we got something to insert in subject also. Okay. Now this part, this script, I'll be deploying using the project what we have just created. So the table can be easily, you can use this same script inside your project file. Okay. I can just right click. If I want to create a new table, I can simply go and create a table directly from here. Okay, one way. But most of the developers, the SQL developer in real time, they don't go with this method of creating table. They use SSMS, or they have different query tool wherein they go and create the query and write the query over there. So they will have some sort of SQL script already created. Okay. So if you ask them to go and create using Visual Studio tool, then definitely they will say no. So they will say, no, we have a different way of creating script. I don't want to use your Visual Studio method. That is what they will say. That's the issue which I faced in real time. No problem, guys. If there's something like this, you can ask whatever SQL script you have, just go and import it. So now if I go and import, do you see there's an option of importing scripts also? So this script is basically, this will get imported inside the project directly. So course script, this is something we can put it over here. Okay. Once the script is imported, okay, did I import the same script again? We need subject script. Sorry, this one. Okay, do you see the subject script now? Add it to the project. Make sure to save this and build the entire project. When you build this project, what will happen? A new dacpac file will be created, and that new dacpac file will have this change also. Okay, let me build this entire project again. Now, if you see this, you got a new dacpac got created. This new dacpac will have two tables now inside it. Okay, now let me tell you, dacpac is very smart. When you deploy this dacpac now using your pipelines, dacpac will go and do a cross check, and it will find that this course table is already created. It is already created manually. It will not go and touch that course table. It will not, basically not go and recreate that table. The only thing the object will be touched, that will be the subject table. Okay, so that is the comparison, and things are also done by dacpac automatically, guys. That's when you're trying to deploy things using dacpac. Keep that in mind. Now, I was saying that the dacpac only supports structure. What about this insert? How do we insert them? Okay, I'll show you how do we insert later. For now, let's do one thing. Let's have a script folder created. Scripts, and let's put the scripts in this folder for now. This is the insert one, correct? Let's have it over here for now. Okay, I'm not putting in the project right now. I just kept it somewhere in my repository. Now, if I go back to 5, there are script folders. I got this table added, and I got the project file. Let's added SQL scripts. Let's do a quick commit and push. Commit all and push. So the commit will be created in my remote repository. Let's go and see that now. Done. Now my actual CI/CD pipeline, we can start working on the CI/CD pipeline. Okay, so we got the scripts and we got the project added over here. Now if I go inside this project, if I go inside this DBO, if I go inside this table, these are the tables which we will be deploying. How do we verify what exactly is getting deployed? So the best way is go inside your commit. There is a proj file over here. This is, as I said, very important file. When you come to this proj file, this is nothing but a XML file. And if you come down over here, whatever things you see inside item group include section, those are the object which is getting deployed using your dacpac. Okay, so there are two tables, course table and subject table. These are the things which will be executed when you run the dacpac deployment. Okay, if you don't see any object over here, that means it is not getting deployed. As simple as that. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, now let's go to the pipeline. Let's create a new pipeline for database automation. So you can use YAML, we can use YAML also, we can use classic also, it's up to you, whatever you want to use. Okay, now if I'm using classic, for example, let's select the repository. Okay, now this is a Visual Studio project. Now for Visual Studio project, you will either need MS Build or VS Build to build your project. There is no specific database build task, guys. This is a Visual Studio project, so I can simply use this .NET Desktop, okay, option, and I can go and build my SQL database. I don't need this NuGet and all over here. We are not using any NuGet packages and all. So if you want to go and remove this task, you're free to remove it. And there's no test assembly or anything as such. The only thing is I require build this project. I need this copy file task and I need this. That's it. That is the only thing I need. Okay. SQL database. Now, why did I use this for database automation? Because we are using a Visual Studio, so I will need this VS build basically for building this project. Just keep that. And we do have a solution file with us. Any argument we need? No, there's no such argument, anything is needed. So we'll keep it as it is. The only thing is in the copy task, I'll need a couple of things now in my content. Firstly, I'll have something called a task to copy a dacpac file. So I will lead this dacpac file. Plus, I want to copy things from my script folder. Remember, we have created a script folder. Let's copy this script also, whatever script we have. How do we copy it? I can have something called I can have something like this way, dot SQL. Okay, this also I can have, or there's no need of this script also. You can just keep it simple. So there are two extensions which I'm looking for, dot dacpac, dot SQL. So dacpac will be created when you do the build, and these files will be copied. From which, so this system default working directory, this is the directory where all the files all the code gets downloaded. Then from there you will be looking for these content, and you are putting those files inside build artifact staging directory. We are all aware all these pipeline variables are, guys. So this is the same thing which we have used for Java, we have used for .NET applications. Now from here we are publishing this from in the drop location. That's it. Okay, save it and queue it. Let's wait while my build is getting executed. The same thing you can, if you want to do it using YAML file, it's the same thing you need to do it with the YAML also. Anyone? Any questions? Hopefully everyone is following, guys. If there's any question, please do let me know. Okay, the build was successful and all the required files and the script was copied. Now let's go to your drop location. One published. Now if I go to my bin folder, inside this, do you see a dacpac got created over here? We have the dacpac. This is the file where your table is there. And inside the script folder, we got the scripts also. Perfect. This is what I wanted. My pipeline was successful. Now, how do I go and release it? I can make use of this releases. Create a new release pipeline. Let's select empty for now. Let's mark it as dev. Let me remove this after release thing. Let's go and add the artifact. We have the build pipeline right now. SQL database build. Perfect. SQL database build. Add this. Okay, let's name this as SQL release. Okay, now let's go and add task. So for dacpac, if you just look SQL, there are a couple of dacpac tasks. Now there's a task SQL Server Database Deploy. So this is for deploy SQL Server Database using dacpac or SQL scripts. Okay, now there is a task over here, Azure SQL Database Deployment. Deploy an Azure SQL Database using dacpac. So this is what we want. So this command is basically this task will be basically used if you have a SQL server on your on-prem. If you have a SQL server on premises, then you will be using this task. But mine is in cloud, so this is the one I wanted to use. I should use. So let's go and add this task. Okay, let's go and select the subscription. SQL Server authentication. We got SQL Server type over here. The SQL Server. Let's go and have the SQL Server. This is the server name I require. Database name. Login. Password. Now this is very important over here. Password, as if now I'm just putting the password in a plain text. This is the password, guys. But this is not the right way of inserting passwords. Then I'll show you how do we integrate Key Vault later. But for now, this is how you will be passing in passwords. This is not at all the right way. The right way is you should have your SQL Server password in a Key Vault, and you should integrate your Key Vault with your Azure DevOps. That is something we'll see later. For now, I'm just putting in the hard coding the password. Okay. Deploy type. So we got dacpac over here. What is the method? Publish. There are different set of methods what we have. So I'll be using publish, and I can go and look for my it will look for my dacpac file. So let me go and select my dacpac file. Okay, this is the dacpac file. Select it. Okay, so this is, let's name it as dacpac deployment. Okay, now what about the other part? This will go and create your table, correct? How do you insert data now? For doing that, that will not will be done using dacpac, but we can clone this same task. This is, I can write it as script deployment. The only changes I'll do is the deploy type from SQL dacpac, I'll change it to SQL script file, and I'll go and select the script file. Perfect. We got the dacpac deployment, we got the script deployment, both the tasks in place. Save it. Let's create a new release manually. Release 1. Let's go and deploy. Okay, let's see if everything is perfect. Okay, and this is, we have automated the entire process. Okay, while this is running, let me go and enable the CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment, so that later if I go and make any changes, it should run automatically. Okay, let's go to the release again. Hopefully guys, it's making all sense. Because if you don't try, it will be just story for you. You need to go and practice this entire step. Whatever steps we have performed, it's all given in this notes. DB creation, Visual Studio, DB project, import, new table, add script, then CI/CD pipelines. See, this entire step is given over here. You just need to follow these steps. I'll be sharing the zip file with all the scripts and this notes. Make sure to follow the same. Okay. Okay, so the pipeline has failed. Let's go and see the reason why exactly it has failed. Okay, see this error guys. A project with specific SQL Server 2016 as a target platform cannot be published to Microsoft SQL database v12. Can anyone decode this for me? What could be this possible issue over here?
You probably need to update
Anyone?
your SQL Server to 2019.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else? Okay. So it's right that we need to update the SQL Server, but not to 19, but to Azure SQL Database v12. This is what we need to update because we are using SQL Server on cloud. How do we and where do we update? This is in your project. When you go to your project, go to properties. Do you see this target platform over here? This needs to be changed to Azure SQL database over here. This one. Done. Save this all. Make sure to build the project, because if you don't build, your SQL proj file will not be updated, the important file which I showed you. And if the proj file is not updated, then it will not reflect inside your dacpac. Now a new dacpac got created. Okay, so make sure to build is very important over here. Now if you see this, the only thing got updated is the proj file over here. Okay, updated SQL Server. Commit all and push. Now we have to wait. The build will happen, the release will happen, and everything will happen automatically now. So let's wait and watch. Did we not start the build? Okay, we have not enabled the continuous trigger, guys, over here. If I want this to run automatically, I would have gone inside the triggers and enabled this. Okay, just because we have not done that, we have to run this manually now. I'm very used to with the YAML, wherein at the top we define the triggers and everything. In Classic, we'll have to go inside and enable it. That's okay. Now let's go and build and deploy your. Done. This is almost done. Done. Now if I go and see at the top, there is a releases tab over here. Just because I have my continuous deployment integration trigger enabled, now this is, the release would have been created by now. So the release 2 got created and it started deploying also. Let's wait and see if there's any issue. Let's wait and see. It may take a couple of minutes to deploy. Now this is how your entire database automation got automated. Now the only thing you need to go and give this repository to your DBAs or the SQL developer. Ask them to use this project, and whatever they are creating the SQL script, whichever way they create, just come and import the script over here. Folder to the script folder, wherein they can have all the scripts over here, which if they want to do any sort of DML operation, so this script folder can do the DML operation for you. And you have your CI/CD pipeline already ready. So if you make any changes, automatically a build and release will happen. So now the traditional way of writing the script, attaching the script to an email, sending to a DBA to execute it on production, all this is not required. Okay. In short, there is no DBA involvement required over here. Once the deployment happens, you can go and check the dacpac logs. You can see the log will clearly state whether the deployment was succeeded, whether the deployment failed, and all this information will be given to you very clear and crisp. Okay, so keep that in mind. This entire project is ready. You just have to go and give it to the DBAs or give it to the SQL developers to start using these pipelines now. That's it. They don't need to change anything in their way. Whatever way they do, develop the SQL script. Just the only thing is they need to push through this Visual Studio project. That is the only change what they have to do in their daily curriculum. That's it. Now the benefit is everything becomes part of your repository. Everything is part of your CI/CD pipeline. Easily you can track and find out if there's something bad. Okay. Now why this is taking so much time? Okay, if you see this initialization has started, now it should not take much time. Now this is all because I have a test server, SQL server guys, and it does not have that much of compute. It's a pretty small server which we have, hence it takes time. Let's wait. Deployment is still happening. Okay, while we are waiting, any questions guys? Anyone?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah,
Uh,
please.
do you have to deploy the dacpac task every time you run in a new script?
So the script is it's about data DDL or DML. What type of script it is?
Let's say if you're trying to maybe alter a table, for instance.
Yeah. So if that is a database change, correct? So if you're making any changes now onwards, when you have this dacpac thing set up for your organization, for your project, any changes, each and every changes should go through your dacpac only. So it's through this CI/CD, because what will happen, I'll tell you. If you do alteration without letting the dacpac knows, directly you did it manually. dacpac is not aware. The dac package file which you have, it does not have that change of yours on the table you have created, a SP you have created. Now next time when you execute the dacpac, what dacpac does actually in the backend, it does the comparison. So the package file, what your package has it, and what is actually deployed. And if there is something missing in between, it will not go and recreate. It will simply go in, and dacpac will think by mistakenly this was created. It may go and drop that change for you, override that change for you. Okay, so any change if you're doing once you have established dacpac setup in your organization, that should go through pipelines only. When I say pipelines, I'm talking about that should go using your dacpac. Okay, now if you go and see this, a table was created, subject table. What did I say? There was a course table which we created manually, remember? And inside my dacpac the course table is also there. Did your dacpac touch that table? So the answer is no. dacpac will not touch that because that was already created and there was no change, no alteration inside that table, so dacpac will not touch that for you. So the only thing it is created, it is this table, subject table. That's it. Okay. Now this was created along with your script was also executed. Now if you see this, invoking the script, the insert script was also executed successfully. How do we verify? We have SSMS, correct? I can run a select statement again for my subject table. Highlight this. Do you see this subject table created successfully? This is done by your CI/CD now. Now, if I make any changes to my create any table, anything as such, I just have to commit it, and automatically my CI pipeline will run, my CD pipeline will run, and my deployment will happen. This is how you automate and database in a real time, guys. And database automation skill set is very rare. So if you possess this, make sure you talk about this in an interview. That not just front end, I have experience automating databases also. This will be an added advantage for you. Okay. One part of this is remaining of integrating Key Vault, guys. So that is something we'll do tomorrow. I'll show you how do we integrate Key Vault, because it will at least take 15 to 20 minutes. So we are already past 8:10 now. So we'll continue tomorrow. If anyone has any question, then please
Sorry,
let me know.
sorry,
Yep,
sir.
tell me.
Just a quick question, just to clarify the dacpac concept. Whenever you refer to dacpac, are you referring
Mhm.
to the project or software running on your Visual Studio, or you're referring to the whole infrastructure to include the pipeline? What exactly do you mean by dacpac, and what is that referring to exactly?
Okay, whenever you say dacpac, I'm just talking about the package file basically which gets created. So whenever you do a build, so at the end of the build, there is a artifact got created. So I'm just referring to the artifact. Now, if I go show you the build again, eventually, whenever you run a build, this is what basically gets created, a dacpac file. Now, I'm talking about this package file. This package file contains your data. When I say data, I'm talking about your table structure. Now, what exactly, how do we know what exactly is there inside this file? So for that, you need to look into the project file. You can, in the include section, you will know what all things are there. So this is what dacpac is. I'm just talking about this package. Dacpac is nothing but it's a data tier application packaging method. So this is basically packaging your SQL objects inside a package file called dacpac. And this is something which is getting deployed right now. Using your release pipeline, we are referring to this file, and this file is getting deployed on your SQL server. That is what we are referring. That's it. That is what we call it as dacpac.
Thank you.
No problem. And this is the file which is getting inside in your project also. So the DBO folder, what you see, these reference, you're getting it from the dacpac. Okay. So this is nothing but it's an output file which is eventually you're deploying using your release pipeline. That's it, nothing else. It's not complete infrastructure. No, this is just a package file. Okay, guys, make sense? Any other question? No? I want you to please go and try this. I'll be sharing this complete database folder of mine, which has all the SQL script, all the notes, which whatever is required to run this build and release. Just go and try it by yourself and let me know if there's any query. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye. See you all tomorrow.